When making roasted pork at home, it's really important to have enough time because you want enough time for it to marinate and you want plenty of time for it to roast. Hi, I'm Daniel and I'm the owner of El Cochinito. Today I'm going to show you how to make the Cuban sandwich. El Cochinito is a small 40-seat restaurant in Silver Lake. We're a neighborhood restaurant serving real simple, authentic, traditional Cuban food, just like my grandmother made it. Our restaurant is turning 30 years this year. It started with my grandmother and ultimately my great-grandfather in Cuba, who also had a restaurant. We were nominated to compete in the Cuban Sandwich Festival in Tampa. I think we won because I got to make them with my friends and family, and their help and love kind of really made us stand out. So the recipe we use is really straight from my grandma. The marinade we make, it's lime juice, garlic, cumin, oregano, and salt and pepper. My grandmother always used lime juice, but I think that was just an evolution of being in LA and having different products available to her. So we use pork butts, bone in, for our lechon. It takes a lot of time and love. So when we start our pork, we bring it in, we slice it across the grain a few times on the top and a few times on the bottom, and that helps make it a little more tender and a little easier to eat. So once it's out of the oven, it's really ready to go. So at the restaurant, we're making pork all day long. We go through thousands of pounds of pork a week. When the pork comes in, we process it and marinate it for at least like 8 to 10 hours. And then either every single night and day or every night, we're roasting pork butts real slow and low, 250 degrees for about 8 to 10 hours. We roast it in big pans with the lid on it, kind of generate a little bit of steam inside the pan. So overnight it's slowly rendering fat and also steaming in its juices. Once it's ready, it has the perfect amount of sauce you need for it. I always wanted to cook ever since I was real little. I used to spend the summers with my grandmother, kind of that kid on the milk crate stirring the pot. Really just loved everything about the restaurant business. So when we make a Cuban sandwich, we first open it so that we can put it in the oven. This way we get everything hot and toasty. Our cheese is melting, our pork is hot, and then right before we put it on the press, we add the pickles. This way they stay crunchy still and give it that texture and balance that we really look for. If we were making a Cuban sandwich at home, I typically would just use a cast iron pan, maybe a second cast iron pan or a brick covered in foil. You really just want a little bit of pressure, even low heat, to get it nice and toasty and have the cheese melt. Our restaurant customers are certainly from the neighborhood, and I think that's always been the identity of the restaurant, as a neighborhood restaurant. Our food hasn't changed, but the neighborhood has, so I think our customers are really just a reflection of the neighborhood. You know, I would love to grow and expand the restaurant, but my dream is to really preserve my grandmother's cuisine and her culture and kind of keep that Cuban culture going.
Oh, yes!